Hello. By the time you get round to seeing this, the decorations will be nearly down, if not already. I'll have put my Christmas earrings away, my Christmas necklace away, my Christmas jumper away, and my Christmas headgear away. Notice I say headgear because I've got one or two hats that I wear at Christmas. And sometimes when all that's gone, we can be left feeling a bit flat. The night's still long, even though we've gone past the longest night. It's still dark, still cold. Spring seems a long way off. And generally, people can feel a bit flat and down after Christmas. And yet, we shouldn't. We have Epiphany to celebrate. And actually, the Christian calendar states that Christmas itself doesn't really finish until the 2nd of February, when it was the presentation of Jesus at the temple. But I think no matter how positive you feel, at this time of year, people do get down. But we've shared presents. We've given them out to our friends, our relatives, those that we've been able to see this year. How much have we shared of the Christmas story? How much should we be sharing? Let's just watch the story that we've recorded called The Great Commission, about on our season of hope. God had a plan, but it was nearly over. The little boy born at Christmas had grown up and become the man Jesus. He'd made friends, the disciples, and together the 13 of them had gone on lots of adventures. They'd been to weddings, to funerals, seen people healed and transformed. They'd watched Jesus walk on water and calm the stormy seas. Saw as he fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. They'd watched him do so many incredible things. And they'd even seen Jesus bring somebody back from the dead. Everywhere Jesus had gone, people had followed, asking him questions and listening to his answers. Some people loved him. Some just liked him, and some didn't like him at all. They plotted and schemed and whispered and planned that they would get Jesus arrested. And so they did. Jesus was arrested by the Romans in a garden and put on trial. But God had a plan, and it was nearly over. Jesus was questioned, and he was pushed and shoved, and he was hurt. And eventually they decided to kill him. And so they did. They put him on a cross and he died. But God had a plan, though it was nearly over. Jesus came back to life because he was God's son, and even death couldn't defeat him. He surprised his friends, the disciples, and after they got over the shock, how they laughed and cried with joy to see Jesus alive. They loved having Jesus back, and they were excited to see what he would do next. But God had a plan, although really it was nearly over. You see, Jesus was going home. He was going back to heaven to be with his dad, Father God. He was going to leave his friends alone. But before he left, he took them to a mountainside. He spoke with them, laughed with them, comforted them, and gave them one final instruction.
Go and travel the whole world. And whenever you meet someone, tell them about me.
Yeah.
Tell them about my life and what I've done.
Right,
Tell them about me being God's son and his love for everyone.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And tell them what happened on the cross.
Yeah. Amen.
Tell them I want to be their friend.
Yeah, good.
I'm their teacher too, just as I was yours. I want to baptize them with water. And if you feel lonely or afraid, don't worry. I'm still with you. Even though I've gone back to heaven, I'm in your heart.
And with that, he left, rising up into the clouds and disappearing. God's plan was over. Or was it? Perhaps God's plan was just beginning as 11 of Jesus' friends began to tell the story of Jesus, of Christmas, of Easter, of God and his love for the world. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of the plan, and we can be part of it too. Hope you enjoyed that. We certainly enjoyed doing it. And that enjoyment should continue now, even after Christmas, because of what the Christmas story is trying to tell us. The Christmas story isn't just for Christmas. It doesn't end with the decorations coming down. It doesn't end with the cards being thrown in the bin. It carries on. It doesn't end when we put the manger away, the wise men, the shepherds, and the baby Jesus with Mary and Joseph. No, it continues. Because it's just the beginning. That Christmas story is the beginning of hope. Hope that Jesus brings us. It's hope that, like my bag of presents, needs to be shared. It's no good keeping it wrapped up. It's no good keeping it in a bag where nobody can see it. The present of Christmas needs to be opened and it needs to be shared. The life of Jesus beyond the baby in a manger needs to be explained and it needs to be shared. The love that Jesus showed in dying for us to show us the hope of forgiveness needs to be shared. If you hear some good news, like for example that somebody's getting married or somebody's had a baby or maybe somebody's won a prize, isn't it lovely that you can go out and share it amongst people and they want to share it with you? Well, shouldn't that be what we're doing with the story of Jesus? Shouldn't that be what we're doing when we're trying to explain his love to people? We should want to rush out and share it with people. But are we eager to spread the good news? Or do we keep it to ourselves? It is a difficult one. So this week, I'm going to challenge you to maybe think of a verse from the Bible and to share it with somebody who isn't a Christian. Or if not a verse, a teaching of Jesus. At the end of the video, we saw the words, "We want you," with the hands, remember? Well, I'm changing that to Jesus wants you.